I keep forgetting that that initial part of the intro is not gone, so it's a lot shorter. But with that being said, it is the late edition. But here is hang on, there we go. Mission Start Podcast. Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Bionis, aka other name. It's Anthony Bionis, the co-director of Mission. I should change, actually. I'm the director now. Welcome. Sorry for the late delay. I overslept, as I posted on Facebook earlier. So now you get into the late edition. So 5 o'clock. Normally I do this around 11 a.m. Oh, actually I forgot to. That's the one thing I forgot to do. Alright, that's fine. So, I got a few topics to talk about today. Pretty much. Nothing else to say about it, but, I'm gonna say, I got nothing. Sorry, I've been busy with lots of stuff. So, anyways, with that being said, let's just get started with the news stories of the week. So let's begin. Alright, so let's begin with something that I didn't know about until this past week at GDC. And actually let me put that. Alright, so as some of you might have known, Diablo 3 came out years ago. It was one of the first PC games that was online only connected, and that's the only way you could play the game online. You cannot play it offline. It was the first of the Blizzard games that they started doing that. I think outside of StarCraft 2. So when it launched, the infamous Error 37 happened, and it was something that a lot of people were very frustrated. I was very frustrated. I didn't play the game until later on. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I'm just distracted. Final round's happening right now. There's some hype going on Twitter. Okay, so sorry. Diablo. I'm gonna close this just to not distract myself. So Diablo 3 came out. It came out for PC years ago, and then when it came out, it had the infamous Error 37, which a lot of people were very frustrated because they couldn't get into the server, which you can play the game. I was one of them as well. So this past week, the Diablo developers held a press conference. They had a panel talking about everything Diablo thus far, and what it turns out is that Diablo 3 was hosted on one PC. I kid you not. Let me just double check. Oh yeah, I kid you not. So here's a quote. I'll read. This is from PCGamer.com. One of the founders of Blizzard North, David Polak, pronounced his name wrong or not, gave a postmortem of Diablo today at GDC in San Francisco, in which he shared an interesting tidbit about the nature of ARPG forefathers, the unique networking. Quote, Battle.net ran on one computer, said Brivlik. Mike O'Brien, now president and co-founder of Arena.net, is a networking super genius. This guy is just amazing. There was a bunch of super smart people who worked at Blizzard at the time. Because Diablo's peer-to-peer Battle.net ran on a single system apparently wasn't a mistake or even an issue at launch. A surprisingly bit of history given the Error 37 debacle for Diablo 3. And then he goes on to say, quote, I think that it was because we had people directly hook up with each other. The bandwidth, we weren't handling much of the bandwidth. They would come to the Battle.net. We would store the IP information and things like that. We'll send it off to other people. So all it really needed to do was to get the connection, send it out to other people, and send it like a chat room. Or run like a chat room, sorry, which is really not much. even back then it was not much processing that was needed, so it was able to run very, very quickly. The thought of having Diablo 3, the Battle.net, which we know today is one of the biggest ones, to run off of one computer is insane to me. That's crazy. I'm surprised that they pulled it off. If you want to read the whole entire article about that, you can read it up on PCGamer.com. It's kind of crazy to think about when it comes to that sort of thing. Now, and it's not. Now I can sit back and say that it's not a smart thing to do, you know. But who do I know about how to make servers or how to, you know, host them? But having everything better than that on one server at the time for Diablo 3, you know, it makes total sense now why, you know, the Air 37 is so infamous and why it didn't work at the time. It's crazy to think that it was the case. Even if it was a peer-to-peer type of thing, like still, it astounds me the fact that that game. I mean, I can, because like at the time its launch, it was really bad. You know, it got better over time, but it's kind of, you know, man, one like on one PC, one to host it, it's crazy to think about. But they managed to make it work, and you know the rest is history when it comes to Diablo 3. It's just kind of crazy to think about. That was one of the big revelations this past week from Blizzard. It's like, oh wow, that's one of those cool little stories that you kind of hear about. Let's see. So the next thing I want to talk about, because I got a big story at the end. Heartstone. Now I don't really talk about Heartstone much on this. Oh, hang on a minute. So I don't really talk much about Heartstone on this podcast, just because I haven't gone back to playing it. But one thing I felt like was lacking, because there was a time where they were selling new skins for your avatar in Hearthstone. Now I was expecting, you know, new heroes to come out, and like, you know, we could pay for those, and say that's really cool, that's awesome. I can have, you know, a different hero or stick with the ones they have. They didn't, or was back then was just a animated background for your hero, which, you know, it was cool, but like it wasn't worth that much money. Finally, after so long, they finally brought out a new hero. And let me bring out the trailer. Okay. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. So, we have a new hero. And her name is... hang on a minute. Let me get the name real quick of this new hero. Huh. It's not listed on here. Oh. Sharath? No, that's the name. Okay, there is you can sorry, I'm reading off the Blizzard website. She has no name. No, she has no name. Hang on a minute. Oh, Lady Lidrin. Okay, there we go. Lady Lidrin. Okay. So this is a new hero that they're unveiling. And there's a way to get her for World of Warcraft. Players who level a World of Warcraft character to level 20 will earn a new achievement, Fledgling Hero of Warcraft, will unlock Lidrin to use in Hearthstone. I'm pretty sure this will be out for sale on Hearthstone, or if you have enough credits, you can probably buy her via gold. The other thing, though, too, is that so they kind of showed a little gif of what her hero power is. Now, here's the thing about her hero power. I looked at it. Basically, all she gets is that it costs 2 mana, and if she uses it, basically brings out 2 soldiers. We're talking about 2 1/1 soldiers. Basically, just one more than what Arthas has. It's hang on a minute. I need to copy this link real quick so I can see this real quick. So I was gonna say that. So when it came to showing up what she does, it's like that's like I don't know. I mean, like I'm kind of curious what type of new card is going to come with her in terms of class wise. I'm not quite sure if I agree with the hero power, but you know, nonetheless, you know, I am cool with a new hero. I just wish that she was a bit more unique. Maybe something there will be. I don't know. It's one of those things I gotta wait on to see how it turns out when it comes to this particular hero. But you know, it's like, hey, you know, I happy the fact there's new heroes, but B, like, you know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Time will only tell when it comes to these type of things. I just wish that the new hero has some cool new hero ability, rather than summoning 2 soldiers. So, yeah, I know. It's on one side, yay. On the other side, meh. Anyways, I digress. I think so going from Heartstone card game to anime. When I mean anime, I mean like early footage of Sword Art Online Alpha. Okay. So, I think like a week or two ago, there was a post, or you know, a kind of a form that people can fill out if they live in Japan for Sword Art Online Alpha or Beta, and this wasn't like a particular video game that, you know, we're normally playing. This actually is from IBM, and what they're doing is using the VR technology to literally try to recreate Sword Art Online in the method of like not only the avatars, but in the method of like you're physically in the world. They were basically talking about the Matrix. So they had some people go in, sign up if you're in Japan, and they, you know, use I believe the Vive for it. I'm not quite sure on the whole. Actually, I had the article. Am I saying? So, oh, I don't actually. Okay, no. So I looked at this, and it's an alpha, but it's very impressive what they're trying to do. I think that IBM, it's an ambitious project. I mean, like making a Matrix thing is very ambitious. It's cool. It's very cool to see where it's at right now and what the direction they're going towards. Yeah, I mean, like I think that this is definitely very interesting to say the least. I mean, like, it's the way of the future, per se, I guess. I mean, like, me and Greg's opinion on this podcast has always been about VR, like, it's going to be a fad, it's not going to be, you know, a big thing. It's coming out this year, all 3 major VR companies, we're talking about the Vive, Oculus Rift, and Sony's VR, which I'll talk about in a little bit. They'll come out this year, and it's a matter of, like, how well they'll be perceived. Like, what is the market? Like, what is the market really going to be when it comes to these games? So I'm still on the fence when it comes to these VR things. I do like the fact that there are some uses it's better than games in my opinion. But we have to wait and see how it goes. It's very cool to see the Sword Art Online Alpha though. Like there's kind of the idea of what it could possibly be. Like in a few years, this may be something where they may, you know, take into living rooms and actually make an actual Matrix or Sword Art Online. So I wouldn't say we're getting there. The technology is fastly progressing, but we're not quite there yet. In terms of like, if this is going to be something that's going to be very useful in the future, if it's going to be something that's going to sell well, it's going to depend on the market. Thank you for the follow, Akbar Cassini. I am bad at names. Okay, so, but yeah, like, we'll see. We shall see how exactly this goes when it comes to it. So, let's see. Going from Sword Art Online, you know, the possible VR future, to, let's see, let's go with a game that I love, and that's Oddworld. Now, for those who don't know, hang on a minute. So for those who don't know, I am a huge fan of the Oddworld series. I'm a huge fan of the Oddworld series, and I basically love like, oh wait, this is not the Oddworld video. Hang on a minute. This is the VR thing. Hang on 1 second, guys. I put the wrong video. Here we go. Okay. Boom. Alright, so as I was saying, for those who don't know, I'm a very huge fan of the Oddworld series. I grew up playing the Oddworld games. I played all of them, actually. Really a fan of what exactly they showed, the imagination behind the worlds, and so on. So it's really cool that recently they had New and Tasty that came out like a year ago, I want to say. It came out, it was like a reimagining of the game. Graphics were, very enhanced. They put some new puzzles and so on. It got mixed reviews. There were some things that they did that were different from this game than the last game that people were kind of, yeah or nay on. So it's pretty mixed reviews and whatnot. Recently, they came out and they announced that there's going to be Oddworld Storm, which is basically the sequel to Oddworld Odyssey, which was Oddworld. What was it called? It was the second game in the Oddworld series. it was a really, in my opinion, it was the best, in my opinion, the best Oddworld game out of the series. So the Oddworld, it's called Oddworld Storm, and it's going to be, that's the next remake they're going to be working on, and that is going to be, if they nail it right, if they took what they did wrong in New and Tasty into Oddworld Soulstorm, that game's gonna be fantastic. Now, be it as it may, like I am kind of looking at it through nostalgic eyes, but that game, the New and Tasty, apparently made enough so that it could make a Soulstorm remake. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. A lot of the mechanics in the Oddworld sequel was more or less just more things you're able to do as Abe. Not only were you able to possess, enemies, but you were able to, command like multiple people to follow you instead of doing one hello to one Mudakin and then follow you each screen. The imagination again, is much better in the second game. There's a lot of cool things they did in the Oddworld sequel that was my favorite out of the series. So it's cool for them to go back and do a reimagining or remake of that game in this series. And that is cool. I am really excited for it. I cannot wait to see what they do. But if, knowing New Orleans and knowing the people there, hopefully, when it comes out, yeah, it'd be definitely a lot of cool stuff. Obviously, the graphics going to be updated. You can see some new puzzles. Maybe some stuff they want to put in that was like originally that was going to be in the original game, but wasn't. So, and the game is really, it's fun. It's actually a lot longer than Odyssey, actually. So, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Soulstorm. Soulstorm is, I'm very excited. Also, before I go on, thank you, Brad from Kinger, for the follow. So. Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for the new Oddworld game. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Hopefully it's good. Last one was mixed. All right then. So going from the Oddworld, we're kind of going past these because like they're not much to really talk about. But like, don't worry. There's a big chunk of news in the very end that I'm saving that I think is worth mentioning and talking about. So I'm gonna go again. Just stick it to the nostalgia chain and. Let's go to a game that, for 20 years that has been pretty well received, and I'm talking about Pokemon. So, hang on. And made 200 mil. So, Pokemon. That game is, again, this year has been the year of anniversaries, and this year is the year of the 20th anniversary for Pokemon. This is from Gamasutsu.com. I can't pronounce it precisely, but anyways, Pokemon main series tops 200 million. The main series of Pokemon video games have sold more than 200 million units worldwide as of February 29th, the Pokemon Company announced. Including spin-offs, the video game series has sold more than 279 million units worldwide. This year is the 20th anniversary of the Pokemon series, which began with Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue on February 26, 1996. This holiday, the Pokemon Company plans to release the latest entries in the series Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon for 3DS. yeah, like Pokemon, man. So it's been 20 years since the original Pokemon came out, Red and Blue. You know, I played Blue back in the day. You know, I played a bunch of the other ones later in the years. Seeing it evolve from like where it started to where it is now is interesting. The formula is pretty much the same. The only difference they made was the graphics in terms of like how it looked. In terms of the playstyle, it still kept the same format. And for 20 years, like the game is still, people still love it. Like it is. Like when you think of Nintendo, sometimes you think of like other Nintendo franchises that you think that would run other IPs to the ground. We're talking about Mario, we're talking about Samus, we're talking about Kirby, we're talking about other games that came out that Nintendo has. And to them, like with Nintendo, it's always, I feel like, you know, just reintroducing like the series to a younger audience. And for this one, 20 years, like it has definitely been nothing but astounding. Nothing but, you know, just incredible what these guys that have done over the past, you know, years of doing this. So, you know, again, my memory is playing Pokemon Blue. 200 million is sold in the past 20 years. That's crazy to think about. Of all the Pokemon games, and that's what, including the spinoffs. Definitely a series that I think everybody can universally say that this series is much loved. That this type of game is something that people, you know, really enjoyed, and they continue to enjoy. And I don't see this ever stopping until Nintendo, you know, when the company shuts down one day, which I don't think will happen for a while. Pokemon is still going to be in mainstream, still going to be in the news when it comes to gaming. So it's cool. It's crazy. You know, hats off to Nintendo and, you know, Pokemon. Like it's crazy to think about that. The fact that over 20 years they've made $200 million. But that's cool. It's, you know, we'll see how it goes in the future with the new ones. But if any indication from past history games of the Pokemon series, it's gonna sell a bunch ton again. So yeah, it's crazy to look back and it's like, you know, a bunch of 90s kids grew up on that stuff. I have to say, like, I had a huge Pokemon card selection back then, though. So I know that. I definitely know how that feels. Okay. So we cut down all the smaller stories and we have time for the bigger story of the week. So the biggest story of the week. It contains two stories in one, actually. So let's first talk about Rocket League cross-platform. So this past week, Microsoft announced that you can play Rocket League via Xbox One to PC versus Windows 10 PC. Now, is this anything new? Not really. Street Fighter 5 recently did the same thing with Street Fighter 5 in terms of you can play people like the PC version to play people on the PS4 version and vice versa. And so, like, this was kind of, I believe, Microsoft's like answer to that type of technology or this type of way of playing people online. Now, the interesting thing in all of this, and before actually I go on, I believe I have a story about this. Oh, I don't actually. Okay. And also I don't have my other story. Oh, I have actually. What am I saying? I got two new stories. So the interesting thing about this is this kind of crosses in and leads to what Microsoft recently announced when it came to cross-platform play. So this is from Xbox Achievements.com. Sony Bucks Xbox One and PS4 cross network play could be blocked by policy and business issues. PlayStation Worldwide Studios boss Shigeru Ishida has suggested that while the technical side of PlayStation Network and Xbox side cross-network play is possible, the business side of things may get in the way. Speaking to Eurogamer at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, Ishida said, "Because PC is an open platform, it's much more straightforward. Connecting two closed networks is much more complicated, so we have to work with developers and publishers to understand what it is that they're trying to accomplish. We are also to look at technical aspect, and the technical aspect could be the easiest We also have to look into policy issues and business issues as well. Earlier this week, Microsoft announced that it is opening up Xbox One for cross-network play, theoretically allowing Xbox One owners to play online with against Street Fighter or PlayStation 4 owners. However, it's always seemed unlikely, didn't it? You should comment, although stop short of saying it ain't gonna happen. Just the red tape may prevent the feature from everlasting. So basically, what they're saying is that now we have this connection. We have PS4 to PC. We have Xbox One to PC. They can talk to each other and play each other. Now, there could be a middle ground for PS4 and Xbox One to talk to each other and play games, a la Street Fighter 5 maybe, or other multiplayer games. What is being said in this is that while the idea for it would be great, and I think, in my opinion, the better for gamers overall, instead of deciding which console I want to play on to play with friends, they are basically saying that there has to be a lot of things in place for this to happen. We're not just talking about a mutual agreement. We're not just talking about publishers agreeing to it. We're talking about the infrastructure of how Xbox Live works, how the PSN network works, and somehow mesh those together when they talk to each other to make it work. So it's not as easy as it sounds at first in paper, but it is something that has been talked about. Oh, hey, I got a $1 donation. Awesome. Thank you, Greedy Grow, for the $1 donation. So, what was I gonna say? I just waited. He just waited for me to say his name. So, what was I gonna say? Here's my thoughts on this whole thing. It's like, I think it's a great idea. I think having Xbox One and PS4 talk to each other and in terms of having a network that could potentially lead into games that we can play together and no longer have to decide, do I get an Xbox One or PS4? Do I want to get a PS4 because all my friends are on it, or Xbox One because all my friends are on that? It's always been this dividing issue when it comes to consoles. Or you get both if you're rich enough, you have enough money for it. The thing about it, though, is I understand for companies like Microsoft and Sony, they got to sell consoles. They got to make that money. They got to have to sell their product. The incentive for people to come and get it. I think the overall, for the good of everything gaming, for the good of the game industry, having the networks talk to each other and having games play with each other will be the best ideal ever. Because I can play Street Fighter 5 on my PS4 and play somebody on Xbox One or on PC. That would be great. That'd be awesome. But these are companies at the end of the day, and they're going to have some reason to say no or say yes about it. Now, here's the thing, and I'll bring this actually up real quick. So, this is off of GameSpot.com by Rob Crossley. Sony responds to Microsoft's invite to connect Xbox One and PS4 networks. Sony has issued an encouraging but hang on a minute. Let me actually wrote that. Oops, wrong slide. Where is it? There we go. Okay. Sony has issued an encouraging but indecisive response to Microsoft's invitation to unite the online networks of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One with certain games. On Monday, Microsoft publicly invited some platform holders to allow the same games to be played online across different console networks, such as unprecedented move, if enacted, could bring it in more than a decade of segregation between PlayStation Network and Xbox Live. Sony's response, issued one day later to GameSpot, suggests that the market-leading platform holder remains open-minded about the cross-console play, but stops short of discussing the Xbox Live. Quote, PlayStation has been supporting cross-platform play between PC on several software titles, with Final Fantasy XI on PS2 and PC back in 2002, reads a statement from the corporation. We will be happy to have the conversation with any publisher or developers who are interested in the cross-platform play. and you get more information if you read the entire article on GameSpot.com. Basically, what they're saying is that Sony is open to the idea of discussions, but only for third parties and publishers if they want to use it. It's kind of like, Microsoft trying to put it in the role like, we would love to have this, but Sony doesn't really want to work with us when it comes to the idea of having a cross-network play. And Sony is responding saying like, well, we'll be open to the idea, but, there'll be other publishers and, companies that would maybe take on the idea if they want to do so. So they're sidestepping the question. They're like, they said that they're open to discussion, but as far as like how much of that openness are they really? Like, there's still, in my opinion, from just reading that quote, that there's still them trying to not let this happen. Like they're, again, these are companies. They gotta make money. They gotta find a way to, entice the consumer. Like, what is going to be on PS4 exclusive versus Xbox One? So, I understand the money. I understand the possibilities, and where Microsoft's coming from and where Sony's coming from. I think, in my opinion, these companies need to sit down and just iron things out, and let's make this happen. Let's have a unifying network between Xbox Live, PSN, and PC. Because, like, it's been, how many years? 10 years? 10 plus years of already kind of desegregation between Xbox Live players and PS4 players. And I think it would be great for, everybody. Because then I can play I can play games with, whoever at any given time, which is great. And no longer have to choose, which console I want to get specifically because my friends are on that console. Now, again, you gotta make money. You gotta, make sure that make sure to, keep the core audience, keep the core gamer audience to your platform. Sell games on that platform for you. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. The idea I think Microsoft's going for, I think is great. Will this actually happen in the future? Yes, I do think this idea where we'll have a unifying network will happen, in my opinion. But we will see exactly how it goes. It's a matter of like, are these companies really willing to sit down and like sit down to really talk to each other to get this done? We have to wait and see. We have to wait and see how things turn out. But in the meantime, Microsoft's kind of throwing out the invitation. Sony's like, well, we could, but publishers, they want to, or companies want to, yeah, they can potentially do so. So, but Microsoft is doing a lot of interesting stuff as of late. E3 this year is going to be very interesting. I am very, very excited to talk about it. E3 is going to be very, very interesting this year, no doubt. So, the last story of the day, and it was a little short show, but I overslept and I had to grab some stuff. Sony VR. Now, here's the thing. So Sony they are the last of the three. They're the last of the big major VR companies to come out with details about their VR. We had the information about the Vive. We had information about the Oculus Rift. Now we got some information on the PlayStation VR. Now we got some information right here regarding this. It will sell at $400 and will launch this year in October. And over 230 devs are working on it. Specs were also announced. OLED 5.7 screen, 1920 RGB by 1080, 120 hertz refresh rate, 360 degree tracking with 9 LEDs, less than 18 milliseconds of latency. And then, so it's coming out this year. We're finally going to get the VR stuff that we've been waiting for. We're talking about Sony. We're talking about Oculus. We're talking about the Vive with Valve. So we are going to see how, again, this is what I kind of said earlier, how the market is going to respond to this. Is this something that the market will want? Is it something that, that it's going to, what all those 80s movies and, you know, just the future of what, you know, of having VR was going to be. Are we finally going to have this? Are we going to have finally jump to that type of future? So it's going to be very interesting when it comes to these companies that are going to come out with these VR headsets. And just things that, you know, were never discussed when it comes to this type of things. Like, you know, one company may have a great headset to wear, but another company will, like, you know, will not. You know, I'm thinking particularly just putting the thing in your head. You know, the other thing when you get down to is, like, are these VR headsets graphically the same? Are they different? Which one is the better graphically? That's another thing that's going to be coming up pretty soon when all these other websites start picking up on the VR headsets, as well as its, like, first-hand impressions. The thing that's been very hard for game companies, as well as the press, is it's very hard to sell the idea of VR, because much of it is you are wearing the headset the entire time, and you can't really show a person, you know, gameplay or a trailer of the game that would look like. And you see here, like, you know, kind of their interpretation of what it looks like to the player. But it's a matter of, like, it's a matter of, like, you know, each person a different experience. So it's kind of very hard to kind of sell them, like, okay, I played this game in VR, it's great, you definitely have to try it out. It's more word of mouth. You kind of trust, you know, what the media and what the other gaming websites are telling you about. So it's going to be very interesting, again, to see, does the market want this? Does the market really hunger for VR? I mean, I read the story last week saying that 200,000 units for the Vive was already pre-ordered or sold. So there definitely is a core audience, but the problem is that even if you try to sell this to the mainstream, to gamers, the prices we're talking about, $400 for the PS4 version, $800 for the Vive, $600 $600 for the Oculus Rift. These are prices that a, you know, normal average Joe would want to go out and buy, unless, you know, you happen to be very, very rich or very wealthy, or you have a good paying job. So, like, it's definitely something that has been talked about. We're finally going to get the, you know, what makes them tick with these devices this year. But, like, it's a matter of, like, what exactly are these games going to, what exactly is the response? Like, the other thing I forgot to mention, like, these games are coming with the VR. We haven't seen much about these games. We've seen, you know, bits and parts of it, you know, through E3, through, you know, trailers, and, you know, but not really much of any footage of what these games look like. So a lot is, it's an up in the air for these VR systems and whether they'll be, at least when it comes to the gaming side. But in terms of, we're talking about this use for other purposes, like for the medical field, for education, oh yeah, I think VR for that purpose or for other uses other than games is perfect. I think it's the wave of the future, in my opinion. I'm more excited about the Microsoft AR, in my opinion, because I want to be like Tony Stark. Because, like, if I'm working on a costume and I want to bring up a photo of, like, the reference photo, instead of going back to my computer or popping out my phone, I can just pop it right in front of my face, and I can look at the photo and then work back onto my thing. I can see that being more helpful, more of a thing in that area. But when it comes to gaming, there's a lot of question marks, not a lot of answers when it comes to, you know, how this is going to be, what are the games, will the market respond, and people are going to buy this on day one? Is this going to be like a long-term deal where it's going to be a system where it will sell over time and not at launch? There's many questions regarding this, and, like, as best as other best as many other not game companies, but many other man, I'm totally brain dead. Many other people are putting out there will have to describe what VR looks like. It definitely is. It definitely is interesting. I'm not quite sure what exactly they're going to do. We'll find out soon. I believe June is when we're going to find out one of the first VRs to come out. I believe the Oculus is going to be the first one. It's going to be June, and then follow up with the Vive, and then eventually the last one will be PlayStation VR. So we will see, but we shall see. It's going to be very interesting to see how exactly this is going to be. There's a lot of questions to be answered, but out of the three, the Sony PlayStation VR is at $400, the cheapest. Now, with that being said, this past week at GDC, there was some information about, it's going to be a bundle for this, rather than, trying to pay just $400 specifically for the VR system itself. And luckily enough, we got a response from the head of Sony, Yoshida. Let me get there we go. So this is a quote from him in an interview and this is from TechInsider.com. In an interview with PlayStation's worldwide head CEO Shuhei Yoshida, he told Tech Insider that there will be a bundle in North America that comes with the PlayStation camera and PlayStation Move motion controller. There will be a bundle in the SE region, North America, with Move and a camera. A rep sitting in on the interview told Tech Insider after much cajoling from Yoshida himself. Sadly, the rep wasn't able to give a price for the PlayStation VR bundle. That includes the required PlayStation camera, not required, but important PlayStation Move controller. So why not just include PlayStation camera with every PlayStation VR headset? There's a somewhat reasonable answer for that. Plenty of folks already own a PlayStation camera, apparently. We didn't put it, according to the quote, we didn't put it in because many people already own it. You should have told us. Oh, how many people? A large amount of people. You should have said with a smile. He can't actually divulge numbers, nor could he offer a percentage. There are 36 million or so PlayStation 4s out there in the wild. I asked if it's over 50% of owners again. He couldn't offer a specific number. So there will be a bundle for the VR that includes the VR, probably a console, and probably a game or whatnot. The interesting thing I forgot to point out is that there's the camera has to be included. Now here's the thing: the PlayStation, the PS camera, I don't see many people really use it. I mean, and they do, but it is something I feel like is an add-on. I mean, much of other things that Sony has done and kind of try to capture that interactive experience, having it required. I'm pretty sure if the bundle is at the right price, you will have the camera, the VR, and the game, and then whatever else attached to it as well. I don't know. Maybe it's something that they are cool with. Maybe it's I don't know. Again, a lot of questions here, not enough answers. So apparently, it is required to play the PSVR, but considering the price of the other two, this is the cheapest you're gonna get. So we have to see. We have to wait and see how this all turns out. I mean, we have never been in this situation. When I mean we're talking about the game industry. We've never been in this situation where this type of new technology that was kind of outed in the 80s about VR being the future. Those movies kind of around VR. Finally coming to fruition, and it's a matter of what the market is going to be with it. Many of the questions I said before, how are the graphics going to be? Is one headset going to be better than the other? A lot of questions. E3 this year is going to answer some of them, if not all. A lot of the VR questions, a lot of the Microsoft questions. There's a lot of stuff that's happening right now. So yeah, it's it's one hell of a year when it comes to gaming. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the stories of today. And again, we have to wait and see. It's something I keep saying over and over again in this podcast, but it is literally a wait and see, especially when it comes to these issues per se. Anyways, thank you guys for coming by, or donating money to me, which was $1. That was cool. It was a little short of a podcast this time around, but I overslept and probably would have been the same. But with that being said, if you enjoy, hang on a minute. If you enjoy watching this podcast on Twitch, or if you enjoy If you enjoy watching it on our YouTube channel or listening to us on iTunes and Stitcher, please subscribe to, if you haven't already, please subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher under Mission Start Podcast. We are live every week at this time. At 11 a.m. Pacific time. This time I overslept and I had to make it up. But yeah, we are live at this time. The shows normally go every week. And on your YouTube channel and on the podcast tubes as well. But you can also check it out on the podcast section and on the website at missionstartpodcast.com. If you enjoy convention talk, if you enjoy us talking about previous conventions we went to or a convention we are covering, like right now we're covering the comic book convention in San Jose, the Silicon Valley Comic Con that's happening. We'll have a podcast next week regarding that. Check it out. It's called The Conover. It is on iTunes and Stitcher as well as on YouTube as well. Actually, we're getting better on that actually. And if you enjoy, comic books, entertainment, movies, a bit of games, a bit of anime, but if you definitely enjoyed that, definitely check out the Rolling 20s, which was also hosted on our website under the podcast section. It's also on iTunes and Stitcher. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Recently, we just got 500 subscribers, which is great. Yay! 500 subscribers. That's freaking awesome. Let's get 500 more. We have normally these videos go up every week, every Monday, hopefully, or every week when I try to. And definitely check it out. And if you haven't already, please hit us up on our Patreon page. We have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Mission Start Podcast. I will update it later on today, actually. I've been pretty busy with school and whatnot. But yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't already. And yeah, that's going to do it for the show. So with that being said, I am Anthony Bionis, and this has been another episode of Mission Start Podcast. We will see you guys next time.